Happy Monday, everyone. God gave me a very special message for those of you who have lost loved ones and who are grieving as a result of it. Several years ago, my family lost someone, a cousin of mine who was only in their 30s, a bright, beautiful, incredible person. And it was a very hard thing for the family because it was the first time that we had ever lost anyone, with the exception of my grandmother and my grandfather. And so God said to me, here's what I want you to share with your family. Oftentimes we grieve for the people that we lose, partly because we miss them, which is completely understandable, but also because we believe or we feel that something horrible has just happened to them. He said it's because we don't understand really the truth of what just took place. And so he gave me this example. He said when a child is conceived inside of its mother, that child has no idea that anything exists outside of its mother's womb. And so that child begins to grow inside the womb of the mother, believing that this is all that life has to offer. But when that child is born into this world, it begins to realize that this world, this existence, is far greater than the existence of simply being inside of its mother. That even this world has far more to offer it than it ever could have inside of its mom. And so we learn and we grow and we build relationships and we gain an understanding in this existence. And we start to see this as everything, believing that this is the best of the best that life will ever offer us. But God said, just as you were born from your mother, from an existence that was limited, into this world, to an existence that offered you far more, but is still limited. When we transition from this body, we're being born again from the flesh into a spiritual existence. And when that happens, just as the transformation from your mom to this world, there was so much more that you experienced. The same applies when we move from this body into a spiritual world. What we gain far outweighs what we've lost here. We continue to exist, just like our loved ones right now continue to exist. So take solace in knowing that they still exist. And their existence, their transformation is even greater than what we're experiencing today. God is a God of love. And transforming from this body into the spiritual world is not a punishment. It's a blessing. And oftentimes, when we view death, as we like to call it, we see it as a finality. And so it's hard for us to understand, how does God allow that to happen? Well, because for God, that person has simply been born into an even greater existence. It's like all of us being in a room together, and God is off in a different room. And he calls to me, and he says, hey, Eric, come here. And I get up, and I walk out of that room into a completely different room with God. And as much as I'm no longer in that room with you, I still exist. And so for God, that transformation is not a negative thing at all. Me getting up and walking out of the room into another room in his presence is not something that he deems horrible the way we deem the transformation of a loved one. So to you who is suffering, to you who is grieving, I understand. God understands. But I also want you to understand, the person that you love, whether they were suffering of an illness or whether they were taken in our eyes too soon, they still exist. And their existence is far greater than anything you could imagine. And what they've received as a result of that transformation, it's love. It's peace. It's joy. It's everything that they could ever hope for and far beyond that. It's beautiful. So take peace in knowing this week that person that you love is continuing to be loved, to feel love, to know love in a way that is unimaginable. Have a great week. Until next Monday.